What is up, traders, and welcome back to Explain the Charts. Today, on September 26, 2025, we are taking a deep dive into Litecoin, or LTCUSD. There is a fascinating mix of incredibly bullish news clashing with some very weak short-term price action, creating a critical decision point for the asset. First, we'll cover the powerful fundamental catalysts driving the narrative, and then we'll jump straight into the daily and 15-minute charts to see what they're telling us. The biggest story surrounding Litecoin is the massive potential for a spot ETF approval in the United States. Bloomberg analysts have estimated a staggering 95% approval probability by the end of the year, driven by the SEC's new standardized rules for crypto ETFs. We've seen filings from Canary Capital back in October 2024, and more recently, Grayscale's filing has a decision deadline that was extended to October 10th of this year, which is just a couple of weeks away. This ETF narrative is a powerful long-term bullish catalyst that cannot be ignored. Adding to the bullish sentiment is major institutional adoption. Biopharmaceutical firm MEI Pharma announced a $100 million allocation to establish a Litecoin treasury, making it the first U.S. public company to adopt LTC for corporate reserves. This move serves as massive validation and could pave the way for other corporations to follow suit. On top of that, on-chain data shows that large holders, or whales, have been actively accumulating during recent price dips. News from FX Street highlighted that wallets holding between 100,000 and 1 million LTC have been buying heavily since September 20th. However, the short-term picture is not as clear, with analysts noting indecisive closes and significant selling pressure earlier this week. Now, let's turn to the charts to see how this all translates into price. Looking at the full daily chart, we can see the story of the past year. Litecoin had a massive rally in late 2024, likely fueled by that initial ETF news, peaking out just below $150 in early December. Following that peak, we saw a significant correction, with the price finding a strong support base in the $80 to $87 range during February and March of 2025. Another major rally attempt was rejected around the $140 level in late January. Since those lows, the price has been in a wide, volatile range, building what looks like a long-term base. The price has made several attempts to break higher, but has been consistently rejected from the $130 to $140 resistance zone. Now, let's zoom in on the more recent price action since the beginning of August to get a clearer view of the current structure. Focusing on the last couple of months, we can see a rally from around $106 to a high of $130 in mid-August. However, since that peak, the price has been in a downtrend, forming a series of lower highs and lower lows. The most dramatic move happened this week, starting on September 22nd. We saw a brutal rejection from the $114 area, with price falling over 7% in a single day, which lines up perfectly with the news reports we discussed. That sell-off brought the price down to test a critical support zone between $100 and $103. The daily candle on September 25th shows a low of $100.31 before closing back above $102, indicating buyers are stepping in to defend this level. This $100 to $102 area is now the most important immediate support to watch. To understand the intraday battle at this key level, let's switch over to the 15-minute chart. Here on the 15-minute chart, we can see that sharp sell-off from September 22nd in detail. The price cascaded down from $114 through multiple support levels with significant volume, confirming the sellers were in complete control at that time. Over the past few days, the price has been consolidating in a tight range, mostly between $102 and $107. We saw a dramatic dip on September 25th, where the price briefly broke below $101 before being bought back up aggressively. This action on the lower time frames supports the on-chain data suggesting whales are accumulating in this zone. However, every push towards the $105 to $106 area has been met with selling pressure. The price is currently coiling in a tight range, which typically precedes a significant expansion in volatility. The battle between the short-term bears and the long-term bulls accumulating at support is clear on this time frame. Now, let's go back to the daily chart to summarize and lay out our potential scenarios. So, to recap, the key price levels for Litecoin are clear. Critical immediate support is the $100 to $102 zone. A daily close below this level would be very bearish. Below that, the next significant support levels are around $96, and then the major zone between $87 and $90. To the upside, immediate resistance sits at the $107 level, which was the breakdown point earlier this week. Above that, we have a stronger resistance cluster around $114 to $116. A decisive break above $116 would signal a major reversal and open the door to targets of $130 and eventually the yearly highs near $140. Now for our unbiased predictions. The bullish scenario, which I would give a 60% probability, relies on the $100 support holding firm. Given the powerful ETF narrative and signs of whale buying, a defense of this level followed by a reclaim of $107 seems plausible. This would be reinforced by any positive news regarding the upcoming Grayscale decision on October 10th. A break above $116 would be the ultimate confirmation for the bulls. The bearish scenario, which I'd place at a 40% probability, would be triggered by a daily close below $100. This would indicate that the current accumulation is not enough to absorb the selling pressure. A negative ETF update or broader market weakness could fuel this move, with targets at $96 and then $90. So, what should you be looking for? Pay very close attention to the upcoming Grayscale ETF deadline on October 10th, as this will likely be the primary driver of the next major move. Watch the daily candle closes relative to the $100 to $102 support zone. The fundamental picture for Litecoin is arguably one of the strongest in the altcoin market right now, but the short-term technicals demand caution. The current price level is the battlefield, and the winner will determine the trend for the rest of the year. Let me know your price targets for Litecoin in the comments below. If you found this analysis helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to explain the charts for more in-depth content. Trade safe, and we'll see you in the next one.